Boom, here we are, the world's most bullish podcast on Bitcoin, bullish Bitcoin banter and bullshit, brought to you by the 4Bs. That is Mr. Allin, aka the $1 trillion man, Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ, myself, Sir Neverlook, aka the Excellence of Execution, and surprise, surprise, Pod 96. No surprise for regular listeners and viewers, Mrs. No Show is nowhere to be seen. Ever. Not even in our group. Just
occasionally so memes, funny stuff, but
when we get up to like pod 200, do we keep on mentioning the name, or will we have dropped it by then?
I think it's just at this point, it's just a meme.
yeah.
I think we'll be on hundreds of episodes down. We'll still be called the 4Bs, and everyone will be like, "Why the fuck are they There's three of them. Why do they? If they're going to pick a number, surely they'd have picked number 3." And you go, "Oh no, we introduced the person that's never here every week," and it'd actually be even funnier if she'd never been on. So we were introduced her every single week, and she never came.
Well, she was the one who basically bullied me into getting a microphone. Said, "Oh yeah, you should get one. You'll definitely use it." And I was just like, "Oh, I don't want to spend, what was it, 70 quid?" I was like, exactly. Don't want to spend 70 quid. That could be Bitcoin, or I could put it into investment. Oh, when I bought it, then she fucking doesn't turn up again.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of listeners will be thinking that we've created her, but she doesn't exist. We created her to make sure we're giving equal opportunities, and we're getting our ESG score up.
Yeah.
But she is
real. It's the only thing that we do that is charitable, because we are the world's most unsponsorable show as well, which I dropped from the intro, which should always be included in the intro.
I've liked the few edits you've made recently. They're good. You've been slowly changing that, haven't you, over time?
Yeah. I have to think about it each week, because it's a hard concept to think about, every time introducing the show. Start it off with a bang, but we are totally unsponsorable, totally cancelable.
Yeah, imagine us trying to sell like 6-month sponsorship. Like, we can't promise you that. We might be banned in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Return you the money?
Yeah.
Or have you got to talk about, what's that thing which Joe Rogan, the green stuff, which you meant to have in a shake? It's like, yeah, we're sponsored by them. I don't eat it. Green. It's shit.
Yeah, we should just slag off all the podcast products now, just so they never come anywhere near us.
Well, I think we've already done all the pumps, haven't we?
Oh yeah, but like you said,
they went bankrupt.
What is it? There's pillows.
There's bed. There's a bed. It's a temperature controlled bed.
Yeah, for like $5,000, but it's the best night's sleep ever. Invest in your sleep.
So is it, if you piss the bed, it vaporizes it or something?
That's when times were hard. I remember that. That was like towards the end of his shows. The bed.
Yeah, you knew it was near the end. When you advertising pillows. I think I even tweeted one of those going, or comment under this YouTube video going, "Oh my god, you're shitting pillows now. It's got to be near the end." And then the channel closed down a week later. I'm like, "Oh no, I feel bad now. I didn't actually think it was the end." but I want one of those. Have you seen the earthquake beds? Where like if it feels a vibration, it freaking like flips over, and it's got like a day's supply of food under there and all kinds of shit.
Oh, sweet.
You just got to be careful not to like press the button wrong, because you get fucking flipped upside down. It's protecting you from falling objects and stuff, and like the building falling in. It flips, and like you're in a little pod. Like, fuck yeah. Just imagine if like someone came to burgle your house, you're like, "Not today, son." Can you go around?
What? I mean, they just lift the mattress up and you're under there cowering.
It's like a metal cake. The metal cake. Yeah, there's eating a pot noodle in there. Oh fuck! There's no lock on it. What the fuck?
That's because it's got the standard model, not the pro model.
So we might get sponsored by Pot Noodle, but no one else.
Yeah.
You get sponsored by a nice local farmer selling some good top quality beef. The only sponsor I'd accept.
Right, well, that's a shout out to any audience members that want to try and get the 4Bs some sponsorship. Not that we need the sponsorship, we can do it ourselves.
Well, I'll happily. That's the thing. I'd accept that sponsor, but payment in steak.
Yeah,
I think you'd accept anything because you're a whore.
Hey.
Well, if you ever decide to make a purchase, Dr. Evil 10%, we could be sponsored by Display.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going.
We'll probably have to wait till the next halving.
Yeah, but then I want to put more in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I just won't say anything. You'll just see the posters in the background. You'll be like, "Oh, he's actually spent something now."
Well, it's going to be so hard.
I didn't say what halving.
Yeah,
I just said a halving.
Maybe 2029, you'll still be sending us links of like, just fucking buy one, Jesus.
Yeah, just
they're all the same.
Yeah. I'm waiting for this one in blue.
So, do we want to get onto the agenda?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, I've just got
because the first bit, I've got no idea what it is, but I'm kind of I'm a bit excited.
Away. I know, right? I wrote this like freaking. My heart was pumping this week because so I woke up, someone banging on my door and going, "Anyone in?" Right. So I've got the baby, so I kind of like she was asleep, so I went running downstairs, opened the door. This guy, old dude, he goes, "I'm from the Department of Transport." I'm like, right. Why are you here? He went, "Oh, I sent you a letter a couple of days ago just to say that I'm coming." I went, "You didn't?" He went, "I did." I went, "You didn't?" Because I haven't got it. He went, "Well, anyway, I'm here. You've been randomly picked from all the properties in the UK. We're surveying 5,000 properties to figure out and to profile you and look at your transport requirements in the UK, how often you travel, how you do it. And so we're going to survey you. We'll pay you £20 for your time. But yeah, so I'm here to do that." And I just went, "Well, I decline." "No." He went, "Would you?" "No, but you've been selected from 5. You're one of the very few properties. This is, you get to inform like the government decisions on da-da-da-da." I'm like, "Just run through what you said again." And you went, what is it? Can I do it online?" He's like, "No, I'm going to do it in person. It's an interview." They're going, "What is it?" And he went, "I'm going to profile you and figure out what box you fit in. And then we're going to ask about your transport habits." And I'm just like, all my alarm bells are going off here. I'm like, "Why? You want to come into my home for an hour and profile me and then supposedly my travel habits?" I'm going, "Just no." So I declined and he looked shocked. I was like, "Go." And he tried to stick around, obviously explaining it. I went, "Please just leave now." And he went, "Well, can I at least note down who I've spoken to?" I went, "No." He's like, "Oh." And then he looked round and saw my car. He wrote down the registration of my car and then got in his thing and drove off. And I get back in the house and my heart is fucking going. I'm like, am I being freaking Andrew Tated here? Like, what is going on? Like, is this a fishing expedition? Have I been flagged on something? And they're going, just get inside his house, ask him a load of personal questions, figure out. Because the thing is, like, that what scared me was the first part of that interview, the profiling. Because what is that? What are you buying? Where's your bank accounts? What are you invested in? They want to, and then they're just going to go, "Oh yeah, and how often do you drive, fly, and get a train?" You're like, just ask me those questions now. But like, I don't really care whether I tell them that bit or not. It's like, yeah, whatever. Like, but that first part of profiling me, I just went, have I genuinely won the little housing survey lottery here? And they turned up.
This because I had this about 6 months ago.
Oh,
and I declined as well. and I won the housing survey.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes me a little bit more relaxed, I'll be honest, because I was worried this was a bit of a targeted attack going, is this because I searched the survey and stuff, it is all legit. There is a survey they do. There's 5,000 properties being done.
Yeah,
yeah. What is the odds of my property flowing into that? You know, and it's just, you know, obviously I'm a Bitcoiner. My tax to the government is all over the place. Like 1 year it's 0, the next it's fucking not 0, and it's fluctuating. And I'm sure there's someone in an office going, fuck it, what is that? What's this guy up to? You know, and I just go in under some guise and just ask him a load of questions, and just to try and fill in some of the blanks, and who knows, maybe find something that is irregular that doesn't match the data they have, and then they could come and, you know, prosecute me for some random crime later. So
you can go and enjoy eating prison food.
Yeah.
And penis.
Maybe a lot of that. Yeah, man, it's fucking weird, right? I did not enjoy it, but I'm glad you've had the same experience. Maybe they're lying about the 5,000 number. Then, if there's 2 of us, that doesn't make sense, because I roughly worked it out. It's like about 0.1% chance.
He was so insistent that I had to do it, and I was just like, no. No.
Yeah, I was the same. He was so shocked. So I would say no.
Yeah, same.
And he went, what reason should I put down? And I was just like, I don't know, whatever you want. He went, I'll put privacy. I was like, fine, whatever.
So that's 1 in 12,000 people.
Yeah. What's that, the percentage? It's about like, it's small, isn't it? 0.1.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, you know, how likely it is someone within one of your circles.
Yeah, so there's 3 of us here, and 2 of us have been. And what have we both got in common though? Bitcoin.
Exactly.
See, if I have this and my wife answers the door, she'll want the £20. What you invest in? Well, my husband likes Bitcoin.
He asked me, like, who lives in my house. I went, you already know. and he went, no, we don't. I'm like, you represent the government. I pay my council tax, and on that bill has the residence. He went, oh, you don't understand. The government departments aren't joined up. You know, we don't know. I just went, well, that's not my problem. It's just what. And number one, I'm like, if you needed the information, you could get it. And it's just so bizarre. Like, what
can you recall
what
the incentive was for you to complete the survey for the hour of your time?
The 20 quid.
20 quid. Mine was something ridiculous, like a wallet or something weird. Like it was one of those RFD. I want to say RFD wallets or something, where you can't then take anything from it.
Scan it from outside your pocket. Yeah. They've obviously just switched up. It's 20 quid of vouchers. I didn't even ask where for. They probably switched it up because, you know, 20 quid's better.
RFID wallet.
Yeah. Anyway, it's and then not only that as well, I just got, this is another random one. It's probably unrelated. It was less scary, but the environmental agency called me as well. I went, again, I have been selected. I keep winning these fucking government lotteries. They want to survey, what was it? Something 125 ponds in the UK to just monitor them and see what life and what's going on in there. And can they come and monitor my pond? And this guy was very nice, but I'm just like, no. He went, oh, but why? We want to just track the wildlife. And in my head, I'm like, I love like looking after wildlife and stuff. I'm like, who knows? This guy might be legit. He might actually be trying to monitor the wildlife. But I'm going, I'm not letting any government official on my land anyway.
No.
And what might happen is you might find some random blue ass spotted newt that is super rare, and you're like, oh yeah, you can't build or do anything within 400 meters of this thing. You got to look after it. And I'm like, I'm not dedicating my life to a blue ass newt. So if the nute's in there, I will leave it in there. I promise you, I'm not going to touch the pond. I am going to leave it. It's a wildlife pond. But I'm not having a government official write me a letter telling me I'm not allowed to touch my own pond.
So is this another person at your front door?
No, this was a phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it was more scary. The transport guy turned up, said he sent a letter, and hadn't sent a letter. That's straight away. I got very, very like anxious when he said he'd sent a letter, and I knew he was coming.
Had you had a letter, so have a look?
Yeah, I got a letter. Yeah, exactly that. I got a letter that they would come in, and then a letter afterwards as well, and then they had a knock at the door. So I got 2 letters, knock at the door, and then I asked them to remove me.
Yeah. Weirdly, I got a letter 2 days later, and it had £4 worth of stamps in it as a goodwill gesture. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm surprised. Thanks to the goodwill gesture, but
you have some stamps now.
Yeah, I've got £4 worth of stamps. Yeah, don't know what to do with them, but
send some letters.
I've never. The only letters I send are like Moonpig ones, and I pay for postage online.
You can draw your own card now, and you can save money.
Whenever I do that, though, it's just dicks.
A treasure trove of dicks in an envelope.
Yeah,
Must be your brother's birthday again.
It was my mum's. That's why I ended it. It's like, enough of these fucking cards. Enough of this for your childhood.
Wouldn't surprise me.
40 years old, stop sending me dick cards. Okay, so
we're actually going to talk about Bitcoin today.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, then. Let's carry on from where we left off on Pod 96 with Argentina. And this time, Argentina have given the middle finger to the IMF with regards to the US dollar, and they've now started trading in Chinese yuan. So they are buying all imports and paying for all imports that are coming into the country, instead of in dollars, in Chinese yuan.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I think there's 2 train of thought on this one. I don't know. First of all, I don't really see how this will help them. I mean, there's that angle of Argentina. They're out of control with their spending. They're out of their control with the siphoning of the money and the corrupt officials. You know, having another currency. We went through, I think it was 8 currencies in the last 100 years in Argentina.
Yeah.
You know, using something else for trading isn't going to help them because they're shit with money. Well, they're not shit with money. They're just corrupt as fuck. But then I kind of also thought, well, is this a gamble against the US dollar? Is this, they're looking and going, this BRICS has got some momentum. It's climbing. It's predicted to be, 50% of economic trade based upon, 5 countries. Maybe we should start going towards that.
Yeah, by 2030, it should or could be 50% of all economic trades. But currently, because I looked for the stats as to what it is right now, just pull it up on my phone. So data from SWIFT showed that the yuan's share of global currency transactions for trade finance rose to 4.5% in March, while the dollar still accounts for 83.7%. So it's got a long way to go, considering.
But
wasn't it what's his name? Once I'm reminding that didn't Nick Batia and Ray Dalio about the same week both say that the dollar's nowhere near collapsing?
Yeah, well, you know,
these just seem to be
4.5 to 83%.
Yeah, it just seems to be, you know, more and more threads unraveling at the moment. This is yet surely another thread, which is just showing that something's going on.
Yeah, but one of the things I thought is, if they are starting to pay in yuan to the Chinese, really, isn't that then, or doesn't that then become the Chinese's problem as opposed to, because their money's shit anyway, isn't it?
No,
In terms of Argentina.
But it's as long as they've got assets which can pay for it. So if they've got a balance of 1 billion yuan, then it doesn't matter because they've got the money. It's not their fault that the Argentino peso mark 400 has failed again, as long as they've got the actual what they deem as a sound money.
Payment. Yeah.
They're not going to take the Argentino peso. What the fuck it's called this time, are they? No one will touch that shit coin.
Well, no. I mean, they don't even want it themselves. They convert it immediately.
Yeah.
For me, the thing that stands out here is obviously we spoke at length about the situation Argentina is in, and who knows how much of this is their own fault. But the fact that they are looking to move away from the dollar and jump into the yen, it just kind of points the finger at part of the reason why Argentina feels they are in such trouble is because of the US dollar and because of the US. So they are looking, they're still going to another slave master, right? Let's not say, China are not, the saviors here. All they're probably doing is giving them slightly better rates. So because obviously for any country, you want to pay in the currency that you control. Your sound money, ideally. Obviously, on a fiat standard, there is no sound money. There's just fiat money that is infinite and supported by big economies and war machines. So with the US and China, they're kind of on a par with each other. So instead of paying, it's bizarre, right? So literally, they used to be buying the Chinese imports with US dollars, which is just bizarre to me, right? You've got Argentina using infinite US dollars to give to China. These are worthless bits of paper, but China, obviously print their own money, and they accepted the dollars, and I think they're happy with a load of dollar reserves that everyone is hedging everyone else's currency just in case their own falls. You want a load of US dollars just in case US dollar is the only currency. Just as the US, I'm sure, hold a load of yen just in case their currency fails, and China take over, then they've got a load of yen to play with. But I just think that the thing that stood out for me in here is, what is Argentina's reaction to their hyperinflation? It's to move away from the dollar and to the yen. So that suggests that the dollar is causing some of it, and it is. A lot of their debt to the IMF and to the US, I'm sure they're just fed up of it. They just get huge debts, huge.
I think they struggled to pay the IMF loans. I remember because it started 2 years ago. They were defaulting on that IMF loan, so obviously they'd have a bump due to all the lockdowns, and then therefore they couldn't pay. And I think this started this series of events. So you're heavily indebted. It's literally, your boiler's broken this month. You're fucked. That's literally put you on the big spiral, and that's literally what happened to Argentina.
Yeah, exactly.
So they don't want to be tied up by the IMF anymore.
The IMF, the type of loans that they give out, they are no better or worse than the payday loans that they're targeted at the poorest of the poor. You're giving money that can't afford it. It's stupid interest rates, and guess what? They default. Surprise, surprise. But then when they do default, what does that mean? You get them taken for everything. And what else do you own? We're taking it. And that's what the IMF and the US do to countries. They give them money at interest rates they can't afford, but they take it because it means they get to live another day. So they go, okay, we've got no other choice. We either go bankrupt today.
This seems like a conspiracy theory. This would never happen in places like Ecuador. It would never happen in places like Panama. It would never happen in places like Iran or Iraq or Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Or Ukraine.
Or Ukraine.
It would never happen.
It's another form of warfare, but it's financial warfare. And in Argentina, to their credit, they're trying to fight back by going, okay, we will try and reduce our dependency on the dollar and try and go to the yen. Yeah.
And what's happened historically when this has happened? So we had a couple. What was it? Libya in the was it early 2000s? We had what other countries did we have? We had a few, and it's basically been on the same kind of thing where they've tried to pull away. It's Ecuador, Panama, Libya were a few countries who basically tried to back off the dollar, whether it's for payments, whether it's for the purchase of certain goods. And it strangely always resulted in a massive coincidence where there's either been some kind of like coup, or the president's been killed or died mysteriously.
Yeah.
Just a coincidence, so.
Yeah. Sure was nothing in it.
So let's watch Argentina and see what comes out of this.
Yeah, the problem is they're obviously jumping out the chip pan into the fire. You know, like let's just go through the whole scenario of the US are fucking us on interest rates and loans, and they're just screwing us for everything. They're stealing our natural resources, or everything that we produce as a country. They just steal it with their printed money, and we've had enough. So you're gonna go to China and start exchanging your goods and services for their printed money instead, but at a slightly better rate. Yeah, it's a better rate for now. But guess what? Once you're hooked, the rate goes up.
You can't go back.
Fuck you too.
Exactly.
They're going to want all Argentina's natural resources for free as well. Because it's so nuts, right? It's so nuts. I literally have Mr. Allin coin, and I could just print as many of these coins as possible, and then just buy your shit, all that stuff that you work really hard for.
Where can I buy this coin? Where can I buy this coin?
Hey, gazcoin.com. But it's just like, it's so nuts that this is the world we live in, right?
But I do wonder whether China have a lot better rate and aren't as bad as and aren't as bad as America to get countries on side with them. So basically, they can dispose of the USA.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's for now, and then once
for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, once the US are defeated, then guess what? They become the US. Once you become the bully, you're like, oh great, now I don't need to be the good guy anymore. Give me your lunch money. But
it's a classic hurry up and buy, isn't it? Right now.
Yeah, it's really sad. I must admit, when I look at Argentina from the outside, I have no clue what the truth is. I'm sure they're corrupt, but I don't know whether the corruption internally, like what percent is that responsible for the state of that country? Is it 2% or like 92%? And what and the other percent, what is the US and the IMF? Like, where's the line? And I wouldn't be surprised if the US kind of interference and the IMF interference is well over 50% of their problem. I'm probably sure it's a good chunk of percentage is internally. The money that is left gets filtered off into various government official pockets. But even with that happening, I think if the US and the IMF weren't sticking their nose in, they might be in a much better state, like significantly better state. But it's just, you can't get moving when those kind of boys have these debts over your head and they're demanding the kind of money they're demanding and buying your goods for money that inflates at 20%. And it's just, and they don't have to. It's so nuts when countries literally can buy your stuff with their printed money. It's it's literally like playing Monopoly, but I'm the bank and you guys have to earn money, but I'm just the bank. And every time I buy a property, I'm just buying out the bank. You go, hold on, what are you doing? You can't buy out. No, I am the bank.
Yeah.
And every time I land on you, I'm like, okay, that hurts. I pay out the bank. Now, hold on, you're never going to be out. Yeah, I know. I'm the bank. You go, I'm not playing with you. You're just going to keep going until you win. It's like, yep. But it's just not. You're not playing. Like,
I mean, it's like
no one would play that game.
But then it's like, I'm stopping playing the game. No, you're not. I'm going to shoot you if you stop playing the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, what? It's like, I've got a fucking gun.
I'm not just going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot you and your family and anyone you've ever met. Okay, I'll keep playing. Yeah, you will. I'm 1,000 games unbeaten, bitch. I'm gonna
exactly.
It's nuts that is the economy we live in, right? That's the economy. Someone with the monopoly bank in front of them, and everyone else is playing fair. I came up with that just then. I'm quite proud of it.
I was going to say that's pretty good. That I like that.
On that positive note, we're going to move on to the next one, the Inflation Weekly.
Let's do it.
It's a bit of a strange story because not entirely sure whether it's actually real.
It is real.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
Because in the
I
article,
wasn't too sure whether you were throwing in another curveball like last time, and I
so
was just like, I don't want to be caught on camera twice.
So there's a
Nice and
video
real.
circulating of Jerome Powell apparently talking to, is it Zelensky or someone from Ukraine?
Yeah, Zelensky.
About how they've ended up with inflation out of control, and to get it back in control, they've had to raise rates, which in a way is, I think his terminology was kneecapping inflation, but it results in a lot of people losing their jobs. But it's basically that admission about the kind of like, if you remember when all this was starting to kick off, it's like, we've got the tools to lower inflation. So what's your tools? We're going to raise rates so no one can afford shit. There's no debt. And therefore, because the whole economy operates on debt, therefore, people are going to lose their jobs. Businesses are going to go under. So like we've seen with banks, I think we're about to see, is it First Republic go under. And then I think there's 2 more regional banks as well, which have got a few $100 billion between them. So these are the kind of results of the rates being played with by Powell.
Yeah. So just to like rewind a little bit, yeah. So basically, what's happened here is 2 journalists or 2 comedians pretended to be Zelensky and his finance minister, and they called Powell on Zoom, and he stupidly believed it was them and was answering questions around inflation and around the economy, honestly, without the PR spin, because he thought he was talking to another world leader. So he was actually answering the truth. And yet he was admitting that a recession is likely. And they have raised rates quite a bit, but it's what it takes to get inflation down. But he went, yeah, but what's the real thing to curb inflation? And he said, we need to bring down wages. Wages need to come down, and then that will bring inflation down. So
and the way to bring wages down is to cut jobs or for people to lose their jobs.
Yeah. So this is the head of the Fed basically going, oh yeah, we can see where this is heading. We can see that the train is careering towards a brick wall. And the best thing for the people at the back is that we hit the wall. Let the people at the front just take the brunt of the force, and everyone else at the back will be the fear's gone now. So he is literally saying he's going to let the economy tank, let the country go into a recession. A lot of people will lose their jobs, and jobs will become more scarce, which drags wages down. And then he thinks that will curb inflation because people won't have money, so it has to bring the cost of goods down with it. But what that brings with it is millions and millions and millions of unemployed people that are starving and reliant on government handouts.
And so obviously this is a government interaction. What caused the inflation in the first place?
What did he say?
Well, I'm just saying, because this is a government intervention, like in all the economics books which I read and listen to, it's always government intervention makes everything worse.
Well, prior to now, it's been the ease of money, isn't it? And the flow of money.
But it's the ease of money, basically because it keeps on appearing. And there's no reason to have interest rates because they can just make as much as they want. So we've had a decade of that after the financial crisis in 2009. And so we've had this easy money for over 10 years, but then they got carried away. And it got even worse. They thought they could keep on playing the game forever, and bang, we end up with this big bubble and it suddenly burst. We have to raise the interest rates, and it's like, oh, never mind. People are going to die, but But I'd also say when all this money was being made, where did it all go? Because it certainly didn't go from the government to the people who needed it, did it? It got siphoned off into some very big pockets.
Yeah, all the big third-party contractors, either the war machine or big pharma, largely.
Yeah.
And really, what benefit did everyone get from that? Yeah, like
track and trace.
Maybe you got a few free masks when you walked into your local doctors or something that you put in the bin 2 seconds later.
Did we say 32 billion for track and trace?
Around that.
And those government contracts to, Matt Hancock's landlord.
Just nuts. Like the amount of money, like you add this stuff up and go, spend that on schools or hospitals, and like properly spending it, actually building new schools, building new hospitals, and training a load of like thousands of nurses and doctors. You're paying for their education through that. Like really incentivize these people to get trained up. There's a massive shortage of these people, and instead, no, it's huge third party contracts. The money evaporates. 2 years later, 3 years later, and you go, oh, and guess what? Oh, the NHS needs money, education needs money. We literally spent trillions on it. Did you fix anything that was wrong before? No, not only did we not fix anything, it's worse because we haven't spent anything for 2 years because we spent it on all this other stuff.
Well, no, they make the admin team bigger.
It's actually sickening just to read it. 37 billion. And if that's the number that they are publicly saying, then you know it's probably a lot higher.
Oh man. Well, yeah, that's the Fed. Anyway, should we move on to the banks?
Let's.
So here's a tweet from Dr. Evil 10% this from today, where there's a tweet that we're linking to on here. There's a bloodbath in regional banks, and essentially every single name in the regional bank ETF is red. So if you hold an ETF, which an ETF is just a collection of stocks, so they're normally good banks. There's good banks in these ETFs, and a lot of people would have told you invest in banks, big blue chip companies, safe as houses. They never go down a lot, might not go up a lot, but they're safe as houses, plus 10% every year, good to go. Well, today, every single name in that ETF is in the red. The bottom is minus 4%, the top is minus 10%. And that's in a day. So public confidence and investor confidence in the banks is diminishing. This is US, by the way. This is a US bank ETF. So it continues to trend that way, right? We've been saying it for ages. Those banks collapsed. They bailed them out. But confidence is still low in these banks. People do not want to own shares in banks, and they are leaving in their droves. We've had a bank holiday weekend. Everyone woke up this Tuesday and for whatever reason went fucking selling my bank shares. They're taking a nosedive, and just as always, it's another canary in the coal mine, right? It's just oh, how did you know? Like, well, like I always thought like the money normally talks, right? People will say one thing and do another. When shares go down, like, and in every single bank goes down in an ETF, that's a good signal that smart people with money are moving it out of a bad asset and into a good one. So I'd like to know where they moved it, but they probably just went to cash, knowing these investor guys. Because obviously we know the good asset is Bitcoin. I don't need to know where to buy. But it's interesting to see where the money makers are moving their money, and they're moving it out of banking. And of course, the people left holding the bag would be the mums and dads still holding shares in these companies, thinking, "Oh, I've held it since the 90s or the 80s.
It'll come back. Banks aren't going anywhere."
And then boom, those 4 banks you invested in gone.
What'll be interesting is when these banks do disappear, where will those investors be putting their money? Are we going to see hyper Bitcoinization? Are they going to go to the classic yellow brick in terms of gold? Or will they move them somewhere else and potentially just hold cash?
I think maybe the super banks, so like the ones who are in the club, like JP Morgan. So I think they got First Republic for a song, and then were given a load of liquidity for taking on First Republic. So they're saying we're going to make a profit off First Republic within the first year, basically because of liquidity. So I think investors, if they're going to go in the banking sector, they'll be looking at the kind of super banks. So, you know, who's that? HSBC?
Well, you've got 6 in the US, because I thought you would say that as well, and I've got them here. So it's Citigroup, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo.
Yeah,
Wells Fargo, I think, are going to shit, so I don't think they're being included in that.
Yeah, well, people are commenting underneath, and Elon actually has commented on this tweet, which I was quite surprised about. Because people are talking, there's an A.R. Morgan Jr., no idea who this guy is, but he's basically saying cash is being sucked into the Treasury market maker account. That returns 4.5%. And Elon replies to that going, yeah, this is a massive problem. It doesn't make any sense to keep money in a less than 1% interest bank account instead of a 4.5% money market Treasury bill account. As more people and companies realize this, bank depositor flight will accelerate to extreme levels, even for banks that are too big to fail. So Elon's like, it's one of those things, right, where I obviously there's way more like better things to do than hold cash, but I think people are starting to not only want to invest the money, they're actually just getting scared of losing it completely. So yeah, so of course, like your bank account, even your savings account, if it's returning less than 1%, everyone knows that's below inflation. Even if you think inflation is only 2%, you know you're losing. So people are looking for these, obviously this Treasury bill, obviously it's a US thing. So this pays out at 4.5%, and of course you'd move your money out of the bank into that. So it's a weird thing where, and Elon's predicting it here, that this is going to start to become, it's a bit of a snowball, right? Some people start it, and then eventually everyone does it, everyone follows. And if this would be kind of hilarious that a Treasury bill ends up causing a bank run that exposes the banks don't have the money that for people to withdraw to put into the government Treasury bill. So which will cause the banks to fail, which means the governments need to bail them out to give them money, so they then give them money back to buy Treasury bills. It's just like, it's like so much freaking fiat inception here. It's unreal. It's just like human centipede, but for fiat.
It hasn't had a lot of views or likes, that tweet by Elon. So I don't know if that's just, maybe it's too early for you Americans. You know, because his tweets are, I'm guessing, liked hundreds of thousands of times usually, and this is 783 times. So I'd expect it to go a bit more global.
It's going to reply, isn't it? It's just that it's a bit embedded, I think, this one. I was surprised to see it because it's, you know, just a random tweet that obviously you found, and then I was reading a reply, and then I clicked the reply, and fucking Elon was there. I'm like, what the hell? Is that the Elon? And it was the Elon.
I think as well, I saw a tweet where it showed in 2008 or 9, I can never remember years, when it had all the banks who failed and the assets which they had, and we've surpassed that with all the failed banks this year already, and we're not in a recession yet.
Yeah, that the effects of everything that is going on, it's weird that it's not immediate and that people aren't pressing the panic buttons. And it's interesting to say it because my friend that works in property, well, I say works in property, is just in full-time property, messaged me today and he said, ever since COVID, I just can't work people stroke the housing market out. All the obvious things haven't happened. COVID happens and house prices increase significantly. Interest rates increase dramatically, but it hasn't really slowed down or lowered the housing market. And people are still buying and spending in their consumerism, maximum. Everything's a lot more expensive right now, but no one seems to be hard up for anything.
Yeah. It is a little bit bizarre. I think when the cost of living goes up by 20-30%, I think people notice it. But as always, what always underpins everything, right? It's a bailout, but it's a bailout in the form of debt. So what I would imagine is what is happening in most households is debt is increasing. And that debt doesn't come home to roost for years. Because it's just on the never never, isn't it? So your credit card payments
on the never never, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's also people desperate to go on holiday, but they'll put it on the never never.
Yeah, exactly. And so as things have increased, like it hasn't increased, it's not like Argentina where everything's doubled or tripled, where suddenly, you literally can't afford to buy your weekly shop now. It's not like that. People are still buying it, but every month they're probably in the red. They're probably, it's gone from being break even to £500 in debt or £1,000 in debt, £2,000 in debt every month. So that takes a bit of time to come home to roost.
I think that's unfair. The peso is only inflated by 6% over the last week.
Is that going to be your running commentary, like my US national debt?
What's the Argentina inflation this week?
Yeah.
But so I think it's going to take a couple of years to come home to roost, right? Because these debts, they get taken out over 12 months. How long does it take for the debt to increase? How long does it take for them to default? How long does it take for debt collectors to come? How long does it take for them to end up repossessing property? That is a 2-year process, right? At least, maybe 3 or 4. So all the problems that are happening now, nothing is seen on the surface. At the moment, it's literally like we're all ducks on the lake, right? All look serene. Underneath, we're flapping like shit, paddling along, going, fucking hell. And so you can't tell. You can't tell which duck is flapping harder than the other duck. Everyone's just going around serene because everyone's underpinned with debt. That's the problem. And debt is easy. Debt is easy to come by, easy to get, and it's socially acceptable. Can't afford the Christmas presents this year. Can't afford the kid's birthday present. Just get a credit card. You'll pay it back. Be fine. Everyone's getting affected by the cost of living. But I read the news last week, and it's temporary. The prices will come down. So just take out that 2 or 3 grand loan, and in a year you'll pay it back, and the prices will come back down. We know the prices aren't coming down. We know the prices are going to continue to increase. These debts are not going to get paid. So we will see the repercussions of the cost of living crisis in, I would say, 3 or 4 years when people's houses start getting repossessed because they're not paying back the debts they're taking out now.
I think maybe shorter than 3 or 4. I think people have been solvent before.
I was going to say 3 or 4 felt long to me.
I feel more like
it's purely how long it takes to go through the repossession.
Yeah, I mean, my head says 2, but maybe you're right. And kind of going into that, we do have these companies, so they aren't just payday loans. They're things where you can buy a jacket, you can buy a pizza on kind of like the Never Never now, can't you? I can't remember what they're called.
You can get your fucking Uber Eats on the Never Never.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Buy now, pay later. Like this is like this is.
You literally get your fucking kebab at 3 o'clock in the morning, £6.50. You can play on Klarna, 6 equal payments of £1.25. Dude, if I can't afford that £6, don't give me the kebab. They're like, no, you can have it. You can have it.
Well, this is what I mean. Like when we're hitting like that stage, you know that things are really going to go fucking haywire.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's in the calm before the storm. I think it's everyone knows everything's crazy. The prices are going up. Everyone's looking around, going, everyone seems to be fine. I can guarantee you, everyone is not fine. There's a huge selection of the population that were just on break even every month. Their incomings and outgoings matched. Then the last 3 years happened. They have to be 20% in the red. That 20% is going to keep going, and eventually, they go insolvent. There's no help coming their way. Some of them will get out of it because the odd one will get big promotions and whatever, but the majority are going to sink. They have to, because the problem is that there's a very proud thing with humans that we progress to a certain level, we don't like going back down, and so selling your house and going to a smaller one would make sense, but people would rather go bust in the house they're in. And that's what's going to happen. That will happen. It just hasn't happened yet because we're only, what is it? I don't know, 6 months in, probably at the moment. If we give it another year or two, and we'll have a clear idea. But I think people will probably start to go pop about year 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be just. Well, it's going to be another 2008 housing crisis where suddenly the banks realize everyone that took out all this debt, they haven't got any money. They're done.
It's interesting you mentioned that as well, actually, because I watched an interview with Morgan Housel, the author of The Psychology of Money, and he said exactly that. People cannot go back in terms of, you know, they have a certain car or a certain lifestyle, certain property, and it just decimates them being able to ever do that.
Yeah, it's what always wound me up about work, right? You know, like once you get a pay rise and you earn a certain amount of wages, there's not, whenever you have a good year, you get a pay rise. But at least in the UK, and I'm pretty sure this is universal globally anyway, there's no such thing as a pay reduction. There's no, oh, you had a bad year, we're reducing your pay this year because you fucked us last year, so we're knocking 5k off. There's no such thing. It's only inflation. It's only up. If you have a bad year, oh, of course we will pay you the same. But that's almost the insult. And we might fire you completely and put you to 0. But it's a shame, if anything, that I wish this was a thing in work culture where you go, you know what? You did really fucking bad last year. And my only option is either fire you or leave you. So obviously I'm going to fire you. But whereas if someone does something good, you go, oh, I can inflate their wage by 5, 10, whatever percent you want. But it should be that if you have a bad year, you can just go, you had a really bad year. I'm deflating your wages by 5% this year. You fucked us. You need to earn your stripes back. We're putting you back a step. Have a good year, and you go back up to 5%. But that doesn't exist, does it? And I think
they have bonuses in quite a lot of jobs. So bonuses, then if you're in sales, it's commission.
Yeah, but that's just a bonus extra. There's no negative bonus of, oh, if you lose us this massive deal, I'm taking $5,000 from you. It's only if you overperform, you get some extra money. But I'm not taking money away from you. It's just it's always extra added on, and it's so whatever your basic is.
Depends how you look at that money, whether it is part of the market rate for that job. So if you do shit and you don't get paid for it, then you are in essence having money taken off you.
I suppose with inflation, yeah, if you don't get the market rate. But I just think this is the part of the human condition, right? It's all what I was saying, and what
it's always more.
It's always more. It's always up. It's up and to the right.
I was going to say when you come across a Bitcoin, and then your priorities do shift. So it's like that car doesn't look appealing anymore, does it? When you figure out money, you kind of go, that car means shit to me. Whereas shaving off, if I keep this car for, I don't know, another 3 or 4 cars time, that's going to be years off my retirement. And you start thinking things that way. Whereas
I'd caveat that it either doesn't look appealing or it doesn't look as appealing to instant gratification. You may still get it, but you won't necessarily be as impulsive to get it.
Yeah, you're looking at your time preferences change. You're looking at the future now. You're planning. You appreciate what money is. You appreciate what the end goals are. So it's like looking at a car going, oh, it's so shiny. I'd fucking be buzzing for about a week. I mean, I'd look at it and just go, God, what have I just done? This is 1 year's retirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like we said,
actually with inflation, it's probably multi-years for a single car.
Especially if you convert it to Bitcoin as well. Now it's 10 years of your life.
Yeah, because I know that, with a wage rise, people they get a car, they get something fancy. And admittedly, I did always put more in a pension, which is misleading as it was. I put, a couple more percent of my pension.
Well, it's gone forever. You should have just bought the fast car because that pension money is fucking gone.
I know. I know. This is why I don't pay into a pension anymore.
I love that you were the guy that when he got a pay rise put more into his pension, and now you pay 0 into your pension. Fucking yes.
And if that doesn't tell any listener and watcher to not pay into your pension, I don't know what will, because Dr. Evil 10% is the most conservative of all people that I know. I was saying to my cousin the other day, actually, I said, he's the son of a barrister, the brother of an accountant, and he is the wild child by doing 10% of Bitcoin. Like this is, he is rebelling against all the education that your family and parents gave to you, the discipline that they tried to instill into you. They may as well disown you.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't.
Yeah.
My dad says, so how much you got in Bitcoin? It's like, some. I haven't got it into it with him because he just doesn't get it. There's no point. Yeah, you have a wild child, but yeah, investing, it's that time preference, and we've gone completely on another tangent. So we were talking about the US banks, but maybe it's time to move on to Coinbase, so the crypto bank. So really interesting video, this one. So there's a YouTube link, and this is in response to the SEC who are trying to charge Coinbase. I forgot what they call it. Is it a Wells
notice?
SEC
Wells notice.
And it's for basically selling, from what I understand, securities without a license. And so they put together this 10-minute video, and it's ahead of legal, and it's Brian Armstrong going through all the points, and it's actually quite devastating when you watch it. When you actually sit down and watch it, you kind of go, this is, if the SEC was a private company, Gary Gensler would be sacked today. He would not be keeping his job, but because he's a government employee, he's got unlimited money. His mistakes don't matter. And I'm sure that the SEC will pin Coinbase for what they've said. But starting with this video where they laid all the facts out, you kind of go, the SEC's got no choice. They've got no case on this.
Well, our guy from, what's his name again?
Brian Armstrong.
Just looking at him like it's Lex Luthor.
He did like
from Coinbase.
Yeah, I always feel sorry for people that respond to government agencies on the actions they are taking as if the actions they are taking are what they say are for the reasons they say they are. Because that's what he tries to respond to in this interview, right? He's going, we were talking to the SEC for ages. We were communicating about the various things that we list on Coinbase. We were having a good chat. And then randomly, they cut off conversation and just served us with a Wells notice saying that they are serving unregistered securities on their platform. And then suddenly, because now they've been served, it's now a legal case. They can't talk anymore, and it's all just gone quiet. And they're asking to fight it. And I just go, and obviously he's trying to bend the SEC in America's arm here, Brian, by going, look, he's trying to do the public thing, like get the truth out there. To go, as far we are trying to engage in good conversation, we don't want to do this through the courts. And if you do this, then we might leave America. But America know that's a bit of a bullshit claim. They're probably not. The majority of their customers are in America. But yeah, I feel sorry for the fact that he actually thinks that what's happening here is all legit. Yeah, because he points out that there's not a single law they've broken. The SEC has admitted as much. So how can they serve a Wells notice on?
But it does seem very familiar to Facebook when the laws were broken, but they still had them, and they completely changed the landscape with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the thing was with Facebook and stuff, they did break the law because they lost a load of data. So that was the hook that got them in. So they hauled Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress and went, "You've lost all of this US customer data. Privacy has been invaded. They had their foot on his head, and they're going, we're either going to shut you down, break you up, or just tax you to oblivion, or fine you, put you in prison." They had everything on him. And then obviously it all went away. If anyone that was following all that stuff.
He stopped Libra, didn't he?
Yeah, he stopped Libra at an instant. And suddenly anything anti-government on Facebook gets insta-banned, or you get what's it called? Ghosted, or your account gets silenced if you tweet.
Shadow banned.
Shadow banned.
Yeah. Have you how long did you last on Facebook after all that?
No, I deleted my Facebook before they even did all this. Yeah.
Did you post anything on Facebook more to the point?
No. No, when I used Facebook, I was a moron, so I didn't post anything interesting on it. I'm surprised I actually deleted my Facebook as early as I did, but yeah, I'm long off that platform.
Yeah, kind of going into this. So you mentioned about the no laws. So quotes were repeatedly asked SEC multiple times for its own views on how security laws will apply to Coinbase and got mostly silenced. So obviously Gary Gensler was too busy eating steak. Then we've got Gensler testified to Congress. The exchanges trading these crypto assets do not have a regulatory framework either at the SEC or our sister agency, the CFTC, in 2021. The next day, the SEC will be working with Congress if they see fit to try to bring some protection. And there's just nothing but, you know, it's going to be bent. You know that Coinbase is going to be taken down. It's whether they get taken down or taken in.
Well, I see what they're trying to do is they've opened up an international exchange. They've got a license in Bermuda, and they're already pivoting away from the US. So whilst the US might try, the SEC might come for Coinbase, I think they're preparing themselves to be like, well, that arm of the business is
that won't stop
gone now.
They'll get him on historic something or other. Like they'll have him. They'll have Coinbase. I'm confident.
I think he's either very brave or stupid by trying to fight against them, because it's a war, as we was talking about, that he's definitely not going to win, no matter how big the company and the business is. And it could be a shame that it's a, profitable, credible business that just goes defunct based on him not playing ball.
Well, the weird thing is about this video as well, just quickly, is there's no comments on it. So I thought, what a great marketing opportunity for the 4Bs and to write a comment.
Yeah.
But then I commented, only comment, right? I asked the missus, go on this video and have a look at the comments. No comments. I go on that video, only comment I can see is mine.
I was going to ask the same question, so I wrote on it. I wrote on it, Brian woke up and chose war.
There you go.
Literally, no other comments, no likes, no dislikes, no nothing.
I can't see your comment about
I thought it was
yours.
Yeah, because I thought I'll comment on this and I'll ask on the pod whether anyone else could see it. And I had the same thought as you.
Well, I can see 14,000 likes.
Oh yeah, it was got 225,000 views. So I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Like, even the spammers are commenting on this, just saying, go on my Discord and all that bollocks. Even we get that shit on our comments. So they clearly got that on here. Because my comment was countdown for when they dig up some dirt on Brian and threaten him with jail, so the US government can have direct access to all customer data and be able to censor it. Well, the US government doesn't believe in a free market. They have to oversee everything, especially if it involves Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be such a good comment. Going to get so many upvotes because no one else has thought of commenting yet. I'm like, oh, no.
Mine was more that I kind of went, something's off on this, or comment and see if anything
Well,
happens.
immediately I thought it was off because the video came out on April 27th and there was 0 comments, and so I was just like, this is strange.
Yeah, I thought they might be deleting comments, but weirdly they seem to be hiding comments that you can comment. Because normally comments can be off. I've seen that plenty of times.
Yeah, so you can't even,
but only for you. Like, so everyone can just chat to themselves.
Echo chamber comments.
See them.
And that's, I'd say,
I might like my own comment.
Watch a lot of YouTube. This is the first time I've ever seen something like this on YouTube in terms of a comment section.
It's not a setting.
Yeah, cool. No.
I run our YouTube channel, and this isn't the same. You can't just change it to let commenters only see their own comment. It's not a thing. So something weird is happening on this video.
Well, I guess it's against Coinbase, isn't it? I just checked my stats. So in the last 7 days, through either on my bike or running, walking, doing stuff around the house, I had 33 hours worth of YouTube. I've been YouTubing for a long time. And again, this is the first time I've ever seen this.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Talking about comments, I noticed a couple of weeks ago when we had the Bitcoin mining as carbon neutral, we had a climate change warning. Yeah, see that.
Yeah, we got flagged, yeah.
That's an achievement, I think. We've got to get some more warnings. Don't know what else we can say. I don't know. I suppose they picked it from the title. No one sits there. Yeah, no one sits there and watches our videos from YouTube. Which will be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
And then, why the fuck are we leaving this on our platform? Let's delete them.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to the actual story. So we talked about Gensler saying that there was no regulations, no guidance, no nothing. When December 2022, after the FTX problems, I feel that we have enough authority already doing this space, Gary Gensler, even though no regulations have changed since 2021, no new legislation, no new rulemaking by the SEC. And their sister agency, the CFTC, had identified Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, US stablecoin as commodities. The Department of Justice, when prosecuting a former Coinbase employee, declined to pursue security fraud charges, so hence the securities. So all the kind of history is there saying it isn't. But yeah, I think he's just they're going to get him on some technicality or something. They found something. They know what they're going to go for, and they're going to have him.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was worried about when someone comes knocking on my door and asks for information. They're on a fishing expedition, and it's the same thing as what the US government are doing to Coinbase right now. They're on a fishing expedition, and they're looking to. And once they catch something, and obviously Facebook walked into their own trap with the privacy and the data leaks that they had, and so they're waiting for Coinbase either to fuck up or they're just charging them.
It's strange though, because Coinbase have always tried to be super transparent. They're a publicly traded company, so a lot of the things are already transparent. I think
you're going from the mistake you're making here is you're coming from common sense, because and that's the problem that Brian's coming from. He's coming from, this doesn't make sense. We're doing everything you say that you want, and we are following the rules, but they are not coming from a common sense. They are coming from a corrupt standpoint, which is they feel threatened by Coinbase, they feel threatened by Bitcoin, and they want to shut it the fuck down, or at the very least, infiltrate it and have access to all Coinbase data, all Coinbase customers, and be able to switch off a customer, ban their accounts, censor them, look at all their wallets. They want that at will. And at the moment, Coinbase are going, easy, we don't want to give you that level of access. And the US government going, you're gonna. Through crook or through whatever, we're gonna get that level of access, whether you like it or fucking not. So we're gonna find some law, some bullshit thing that you've made a mistake on, and but based on that, where they're going to get that level of access, which is, again, it's the Twitter files that Elon exposed, right? It's Twitter had data leaks. What was the US government's response to that? We need access, an API directly into your platform. We can silence words, we can shadow ban people, we can ban people. We don't need to email you and tell you ban user XYZ. We want our ban button on our side. We can ban, we can silence, we can shadow ban from here. We don't need to fucking talk to you. You get a little flag to say the US government did this thing, but you don't need to fucking know why, and we ain't justifying ourselves to you. That's what the US government want on Coinbase. They want a little API they can sit in front of and go, oh, this person is starting to become a problem. Ban and blacklist all his Bitcoin addresses and ban his Coinbase account. Boom, done. Next one. That's what they want. They don't have to send in a warrant and send it into Coinbase support to go, oh, this person is a person of interest and we need to monitor his account or potentially ban this person's account. Because Coinbase then go, well, why? Have you got a warrant? They start asking questions. They don't. They're the US government. They don't answer questions. They just want an API that goes, this person is pissing us off, switch them off. Bang, done. Next question. And they want to be able to do that. And that's what they're trying to get to. But Brian, unfortunately, is coming from the same point of view as you are and trying to argue them. And it's like when you're trying to argue, the fiat media against Bitcoin with the climate crisis, right? And you're trying to come from a sensible standing point, and they're just coming from it from a purely, no, I want to bring Bitcoin down. So you can't debate someone that isn't being genuine, right? And that's what Brian's doing here, unfortunately. He's trying to debate someone that isn't being genuine back. Because of course he's in the right on this. Of course he is. But he's not going to win because it's the US government and they want access to his platform. And they will get it. They'll
rewrite history if they need to. Just on a kind of side note, when I was listening to it, he kept on referring to Gary Gensler as Chair Gensler. Did anyone else keep on hearing Herr Gensler? Oh God, we're going to get banned for that.
Hi, Gensler.
That's 2 strikes. Oh gosh, my
Hi, Gensler's fine, isn't it? I can do the other one if you want. No, I won't do it.
No.
Right. Swiftly moving on. So the next one is moving away from USA and it's Mexico, isn't it?
Mexico.
So yeah, on LinkedIn, a very rare LinkedIn link. We didn't get many of these, do we?
I was going to say, very rare that we ever see these.
Yeah, it's rare I even go on LinkedIn.
You do. Let's be fair. You love going on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's full of shit normally.
Yeah, but that's why you love it, so you can insult people and wind them up, and they can report you to the company and realize you don't have a job.
No. Sometimes I get reports into my own company to fire me. I just go lol. Like I am the company, bitch.
So on this one, this is a link from someone at Jan3.
Yeah.
Never heard of them. I tried.
Great reference. Jan 3rd, 2009.
I tried Googling it and I just came up with you're not authorized to access this page. But it talks about how there's 3 different paths to Bitcoin adoption. And this is from their CEO. Add Bitcoin to the nation's treasury, Bitcoin bonds and mining, and then enact laws allowing for Bitcoin to be used as a currency. And I think they mentioned around the fact that Mexico is quite energy rich. So I think this happens with some poorer countries. And I think we've got a story later about this as well. But yeah, I suppose my main question here is, who the hell are Jan3?
It's Samson Miles Company.
It's what, sorry?
Samson Miles Company.
Okay. Who's he?
Samson Mao he's just a Bitcoiner. He works for Blockstream, and has been trying to forward Bitcoin adoption on a nation state level. He's an OG Bitcoiner, been in since 2012.
Yeah.
13.
I think that's where the kind of like, reference was lost on me, because I was like, who the hell is he? Being relatively new, I was just like, who is this person?
Yeah.
And it's just, he's pointing towards the El Salvador playbook as do this. And well, I hope that people are looking at El Salvador as a bit of a success, but I think all the fiat newspapers now are trying to paint them as a disaster, even though they repaid their bonds.
His profile picture is with Bukele on LinkedIn. Samson Mao. Yeah. So when you go and click through to him, he's on there. You can't connect to him, but you can follow him, of course. And I guess those true Bitcoiners. I see that you've got no, you can't. Yeah, I was going to say.
To verify this member knows you, please enter their email to connect. Oh.
Yeah. So the only thing that you can do is follow, unless, of course, you were to know him. Got 3 mutual connections. It's interesting. So the 3 mutual connections. 1, Dr. Seyfuddin Amous. May have heard of him. Interesting one, Julian Sawyer, ex-co-founder of Starling Bank and ex-CEO of Bitstamp, current chief exec at Zodia Custody, and then a Carol Grunberg, who works at Citibank.
Yeah, if you go on LinkedIn, Samson has a strict only people he follows can reply, and I can reply, bitches. He follows me. So
it's not coming up that I've got anyone in common with Samson.
What is this on Twitter or on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, fuck that platform. It's a pile of shit. LinkedIn is literally a dog pile of a platform. I actually can't believe someone created a business network, and it
could be so much better,
and it's still the #1 platform. It's so bad.
Yeah,
so bad. Like, there's nothing good about it. It's just all I get is spam and shit. And anyway,
yeah, it could be so much better than it is.
Yeah, but anyways, so what Samson's saying, right? So Samson, his main point, if you don't know who Samson Mao is, and fucking educate yourself, Google him. But it's add Bitcoin to the nation's treasury, Bitcoin bonds and mining, enact laws allowing Bitcoin to be used as a currency. So he's on a bit of a mission at the moment to just get nation states to adopt Bitcoin. He's going from the top up adoption. This isn't the adoption that I prefer. I prefer the bottom up adoption. I think the people should choose Bitcoin first, and then the nation states can do what the fuck they want. But I agree, right? So #1, add Bitcoin to the nation's treasury. Yeah, just as nations added gold to their treasury, they added silver, diamonds, whatever. Like, yeah, of course, they should absolutely. If you're a nation state, you should have Bitcoin in your treasury. Bonds and mining, yep, you should have a Bitcoin bond. El Salvador being doing a Bitcoin bond. Should you mine Bitcoin? Yep, absolutely. And allowing Bitcoin just to be a currency. So the biggest reason why you do that is it means it just gets rid of the fact that Bitcoin is now not subject to capital gains tax. It's not an asset that if the price increases or decreases, every time you exchange it for another asset, you have to pay tax on the price appreciation or depreciation, whatever it might be. So by making Bitcoin legal tender, you get past that. So that's 3 things that literally countries could do pretty much now and still have their core fiat currency. You can have Bitcoin to the treasury, you can have a Bitcoin bond, you can mine Bitcoin, and you can make Bitcoin legal tender. You can still lead with your bullshit fiat currency. Bitcoin isn't the standard in your country yet if you do those 3 things, but it greatly secures the future of your currency, and it's a great hedge. because what if, right? It's always the what if. Obviously, we know it's coming. But if you're a naysayer and you're going, bollocks, you go, well, add a tiny bit of Bitcoin to your treasury. Maybe do a little bit of Bitcoin mining, and maybe just allow Bitcoin as a currency just to flow in your currency in your country, so people just have Bitcoin themselves and don't tax it. And let's see what happens. And I think the countries that do this stuff, when we come out the other side and we are on a Bitcoin standard and fiat is dead, the countries that enact these first three rules will be the ones that survive, as opposed to the ones that can get completely wrecked because they have no Bitcoin in their country at all.
What about the ones still holding gold?
Hey, Bitcoin is probably quite friendly to people that have gold, so they'll probably be okay. I mean,
yeah,
we'll have a little like, a couple of % hedge into a bit of gold, a bit of a shiny rock, but I wouldn't mind buying your steak dinner with some gold. I'm not sure many Bitcoiners would exchange gold for a steak.
You could keep piece of shit as a pet.
Yeah.
I like a monkey.
Yeah, it wasn't anything rocket science in terms of the three options on how to adopt Bitcoin, but I guess maybe if it was used on a stronger platform, so I don't know, actually, maybe this is the right platform for where it needs to be, because you've already got Bitcoin Twitter, so maybe it needs to happen on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, weirdly, I spotted this thing from Samson himself on LinkedIn, but then this is just it kind of spread quite a lot.
Yeah.
So
thinking out loud, then it's like, actually, it probably is in the right place.
Yeah, he put it on his Twitter, he put it on everywhere. I just have to see it on LinkedIn, so shove LinkedIn, that's it. On there. It's a little bit like the next one, right? So the next story is so Bhutan confirms they've been mining Bitcoin for years, and with their excess energy. Excess energy? I didn't think we had excess energy. I thought it was super scarce, and any bit of excess energy just melted an iceberg somewhere. What the fuck? It turns out that there's an entire country, and this again. So this is another story, right, from 3 days ago, and it was relatively unheard of, and hardly anyone had seen it. And now it's done the rounds all over Twitter. Everyone's talking about it, and yeah, it's just another place, right? So that they are Bhutan has been mining Bitcoin for years. They've got a load of massive hydro projects. They've got a load of just energy processes, like out in the middle of nowhere, creating energy to serve their country. But there's a load of excess energy just getting burned off, put out into the atmosphere, whatever it might be. So they've just decided, well, we'll mine Bitcoin with that excess energy. And they've been doing it for years and no one knew. And we've only just found out. So yet again, so as they mine Bitcoin with their excess energy that would have got completely wasted, every single time someone trying to build the FUD against Bitcoin for all the energy uses that we use, so often we go, most of this energy wouldn't even be used if it wasn't for Bitcoin. It would just be let up into the atmosphere anyway. Yet they keep counting every single little megawatt of energy that Bitcoin uses as, oh, you had to chop down a tree to do that. You had to burn a fossil fuel to do that. Yet another example of an entire country going, no, we waste energy all the fucking time. And it makes sense to put a Bitcoin miner at the end of it. And we mine Bitcoin. So that's good.
And it quite clearly says it's a self-sustaining project. So they do sell off Bitcoin and then treasure some. So we can keep it running with all the costs. And as you said, it's energy which would be lost. And it does say a line here, it prioritizes local industries over Bitcoin mining. Yeah. So your Sports Direct mugs are okay.
Yeah, stick it in there somewhere.
But I was having a look at Bhutan because I don't know anything about it at all. I barely know where it is. What are its biggest industries? Agriculture, tourism, mining. So for iron ore, cement, stones, limestone, marble, gypsum, which I've never heard of, dolomite and clay. And of course, hydropower, which is the biggest export, so the biggest industry. And I think there is a hope that it's a fourth industrial revolution over there. So it end up with people keep on emigrating. They want people to stay and build up the country. And I think this is the opportunity. Just like how El Salvador have kind of like corrected themselves. I think Bhutan sees Bitcoin as a potential savior.
So it's interesting that I don't know where Bhutan rank in the world rankings, but last week we were talking about Bulgaria and their 1% of the entire Bitcoin's volume of 200. I think they had 213,000 coins off the top of my head. Yeah. And now we've got Bhutan and the Bhutanese people. These nations can just come out of nowhere, right?
So out of our table based upon GDP, Bhutan are 181st out of 216. So they're surrounded by powerhouses such as Krakow, Eritrea, Lesotho, Cape Verde, Gambia. So they are, way down that list.
Yeah.
The populations aren't particularly massive at that end as well.
So, maybe again, one to watch.
And because the one thing they haven't confirmed is how much Bitcoin it got.
Yeah, I was looking all throughout the article on that before when reading, and I couldn't find anything. Whereas obviously,
it's the thing, right? It's another beautiful thing. Like Bhutan now is suddenly on my list of places to go, because when all this comes crashing down, what country is going to be okay? The countries that got Bitcoin. Bhutan's their social services are going to be okay. So
So we basically got 3 now. Because I read today that Central African Republic have stopped accepting Bitcoin. So basically, we've got El Salvador, Bhutan, and Bulgaria.
Yeah.
I think Madeira. There's also what is it? The port of somewhere, which is somewhere off South America. I can't remember what it's called. So there's some small places here, there, and everywhere. And there's that island which we talked about a number of weeks ago as well.
Yeah. And and the only thing you can really do to prepare for that is to try and get a passport into these places, because try and get residency. But
yeah,
it's all a bit of a stretch at the moment. But these are the places, right? These are the places on the short list. Bhutan, I'm the same as you. It's a little bit like El Salvador. Never fucking heard of the place. But then suddenly, there's obviously someone that at the top of Bhutan who knows what they're fucking doing. And they'd be mining Bitcoin for years. You go, okay, this is the next El Salvador. And this is the crazy thing, right? This is the falling of nations, the falling of empires. So often the winner is unexpected and comes from a very strange place. Sometimes it can be very predicted and it's all like in charts. Other times, little side players that have nothing to do with things can suddenly come into play. Who knows? Could an El Salvador or Bhutan become one of the major players in the next financial revolution?
Be definitely interesting to watch, and one day listeners and viewers will just see us in a new location, new background, because we've had to do it. We've pulled the plug.
Eating lobster.
Indeed. Right. And then that brings us on to our last story, which is a Bitcoin wedding idea. Do you want to take us through this, Mr. Allin?
Yeah. So
close to your
it is.
what's on your agenda right now?
Yeah, so for anyone that's got this far into the pod, you get rewarded by the fact you know that I'm getting married. So congrats. So there's probably only my brother listening at this point, so he already knows. But yeah, so I stumbled across this. So yeah, it's interesting, right? So someone has already had a Bitcoin themed wedding in Lebanon, which surprise, surprise, it's a country like Lebanon, experience hyperinflation, blah blah blah. But yeah, so someone's just gone, oh yeah, have a load of QR codes around, and you can receive 4,000 satoshis, which is about 89 cents, just by scanning a QR code, downloading that. And I think according to the video, which was very weird, I didn't really understand why it was done in this like auto voice kind of thing. It says something like 75 of 200 people come to the wedding, downloaded the app, and took the satoshis. So
yeah,
it's something I am considering. It's one of them where I don't believe in giving out satoshis to people that are gonna not respect them, because if I just give them out willy-nilly and then they just get lost, then that was silly, right? I want to give it out to people, which is the whole point of why I do it in the way I do it with Bitcoin lessons, where you have to go through a whole load of education and then you get some satoshis at the end. And the whole theory is you've done the work, so now you earned the satoshis. Congrats. Here's some money and you should respect it. I think just scanning a QR code at a wedding, and if it randomly just prompts you to download an app and then it receives 89 cents of satoshis into your app, how many people are going to respect it? How many people are going to become Bitcoiners after that? Don't know, but I kind of liked it as a story. I'm considering it for my wedding.
You should do it.
I mean, the stats from the wedding of 275 people were at 30%. So your 75 actually went on to download. Sorry, 250 people, 75 people went on to download the QR code and set up a wallet, and then were rewarded with their actual Bitcoin. I think perhaps those that didn't, maybe because I'm sure the reward was something really small. It was like less than £2 or something in terms of it, but maybe the reward could have been higher for those that did do it. But hey, it was a good gesture nonetheless.
It's one of them, isn't it? Like, because it's 89 cents. So what's that, like 50?
Yeah,
50p.
Yeah,
but like as Bitcoiners, are you going to take 50p of sats if I put a QR code out? Of course you are. You're going to scan the shit out of that. You're probably going to scan it multiple times.
And I'll tip my wife's.
Exactly. It's like, it's one of them where, of course.
Oh, are you eating that? Oh, I love
that. Of course you're going to, but that's the thing. If you're not a Bitcoiner yet, are you going to? Who knows? What is your price point? Is it a tenner? Is it 20? And then even if it's 20, right? Are you going to give £20 worth of Bitcoin out to randoms? And are they going to really? It's just, are they going to respect those satoshis? I don't think they are. I think they're going to lose it. I think they're going to switch their phone, forget their app's even on there, and yeah. So I think there's a lot to be said about Bitcoin and weddings. So I am thinking about this stuff, but I do want to give out some sats. But I think it needs to be done the right way. Because I think it's been done, like, obviously Bitcoin has been out for 14 years now. And I think there's a lot of people that have given satoshis to people and regretted it, because you ask them years later, oh, how's your Bitcoin doing? And they go, oh, what Bitcoin? Like, oh, on that wallet I sent you. You know, like Peter Schiff freaking got sent something in like 2013, didn't he? Like $100 or $1,000, and ended up being worth 10, 20k, and he forgot the password, and it's gone. That's another set of satoshis that are gone. And you go, if you don't respect it, if you don't understand what you've got, then you don't look after it. And that's always the problem with giving out money for free, especially when it's Bitcoin related. When people don't understand how to look after it yet. So yeah, I thought it was a good story to end on, but I'm so torn on whether I think it's a good or a bad idea. I really want to do it, but then I just go, and I don't even care, like, because about how many Satoshi I lose. It's just, if I lose them to a good cause, it's all good. Like, if I literally gave it to my guests, super happy. Like,
But
good luck.
10%. I heard that he was going to give us a Bitcoin each.
That's what I thought he was saying. Otherwise,
That's what I heard.
I'm not turning up.
It's
Otherwise,
recorded. Yeah.
I thought it was 4 Bitcoin each.
Oh, okay.
4.2 Bitcoin each.
6.15, baby. Infinite riches and big titty bitches.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, yeah, it's probably a good question, like, just to ask, isn't it? Like, is giving out Bitcoin a good thing? I'm so torn. I honestly don't think it is, but I want to give out a token amount of Bitcoin at my wedding. So I think, because that's the thing. How I see, I tried to say just giving out 50p to 75 people, even if they never use it again and lose it, I'm fine. I'm not fine.
No, you're not fine. No,
Those
you're not.
Satoshis are fucking valuable. You better fucking cherish them. I want you to be passing them down generation to generation. And if it just went to a load of people that went on their phones and they fucking updated their phone and their app disappears and they never know the Satoshis are there, I'm so, like, they were Satoshis that I fucking got and I gave them to you and you didn't respect them. I can't do it.
No,
I'm decided. I can't give Satoshis to people that don't respect it. I'm decided.
Yeah.
There needs to be some type of barrier that goes, are you a fucking Bitcoiner? If you are, fucking click here. If you're not, fuck off. Go get a hot dog.
What about, because I think Saifedean gives, you can get a PDF version of the Bitcoin standard somewhere, so put that into a link, but have a few questions which only a Bitcoiner would know in order to qualify for the Satoshis, and otherwise they can claim the Satoshis within 30 days if they can answer the questions through reading a Bitcoin standard.
Maybe a question and answer from each chapter.
Or you just buy people the Bitcoin standard.
A bit more expensive.
It's quite pricey. That's the 10 quid, right? It's instead of buying sats, buying knowledge.
Yeah, I'm a big. Yeah. Again, would it sit there on the shelf? I mean, it's less likely to be thrown away. So yeah.
Yeah, you can't lose them. Well, you can lose a book.
You can, but yeah.
Yeah, interesting. It's a tough one, right? It's obviously with a wedding, you've got family, friends. So I've got everyone that, from the people that actually know who I am to the people that still think I'm like 12 and don't know who I am. You're trying to you're coming to my fucking day, you're getting orange pilled the fuck, and then you go, oh, how am I gonna do this?
Like, orange Tic Tacs on the table.
Yeah, it's good. Literally orange pills,
yeah. You can have that one for free.
I like that one.
Yeah,
there's got to be someone selling orange Tic Tacs out there.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's that subliminal message of the orange pill on every table or for every guest.
Yeah, that's happening. That's done.
Yeah.
But it's just giving the sats out. It's weird, isn't it? Like, when you give out an item that's been converted from sat to the item, you go, well, at least you got the item. Yeah, like you got the Tic Tacs, whether you got the message or not, like whatever. But when you give you the actual sat, I give you 4,000 Satoshis. Like, did you use them? Please use them. Even if you waste them, even if you just buy a McDonald's or something, please fucking use it. Like, they need to leave the wallet that I sent it to. And if they just sit there forever, and because I know that that person lost the wallet, you go, that's going to sting, because that 89 cents isn't 89 cents. It's going to be $8.90, and there's going to be $89. There's going to be $890. It's like, oh my god! As time goes on, you're going to be thinking about it. How many tens of thousands of dollars you just pissed at the wall, and how many satoshis just went away. But anyway, I think we're done for today.
Well, that's one for the viewers and listeners to comment on, in terms of Bitcoin wedding gifts and ideas. Keep those coming. Right, I'll take us out. I'm taking us out from Pod 96, from the show that is unsponsorable and totally cancelable. The show where, as we always say, the agenda writes itself. The never-ending saga that is Bitcoin. The technology's changed, but the use cases do change. Mr. Allin, aka the $1 trillion man, Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ, myself, Sir Neverlook, aka the Excellence of Execution, and yes, once again, she was here, but she's not here. Mrs. No Show. No Show. Peace.